You're talking so much in a likeness of those who have agitated and are asking for the restructuring of Nigeria. Is that essentially what you're talking about?
Nigeria always needed to be restructured. Even Lugard admitted it. Because Temple, the governor of the North, had wanted Nigeria split into about 8 states. Lugard refused. Lugard agreed that that argument was certainly better than his own.
So which one would you prefer the most? The states,
is that,
the regions?
The truth is that...
As at 1963, or which one?
As at 1963, we had a bad constitution which wasn't working well.
I mean, a lot of people will agree. I disagree with you.
I know why they disagree. And
a lot of people will say that the regionalism was
actually the
best of our outing.
Regionalism was actually the problem in the First Republic. If it worked, there would have been no 1966. Let me give you a very easy way of understanding it. When the 1959 election took place, Nnamdi Azikiwe refused to form a coalition with Action Group in the West, NEPO in the North, the UNBC, and the Core Project, because that would have been the best coalition in Nigeria. But he refused to do it because he was told that if he formed a coalition with the Action Group, there are too many educated Yoruba people to contest for jobs with the Igbo. So it was best to form a coalition with the NPC, which did not even have enough educated people to fill their quota. So that all the jobs were actually taken over by NCNC proteges. See what happened. 4 years later, in 1964, the NCNC suddenly discovered that although they took over all the strategic jobs across the Federation, all the major projects were in the North. The iron and steel industry was the last to come. Before that, all the military installations, the Kainji Dam, the railway extensions, they suddenly discovered that the ground was actually owned by the NPC stalwarts who did not provide the personnel. The personnel were provided by the NCNC stalwarts. Now, that was the point when the NCNC looked and discovered this in 1964. That was when an election took place, and Nnamdi Azikiwe refused to call Balewa to form a government. Now, they could not form a government. Azikiwe wrote a speech in the morning which was published in the West African Pilot, saying, I won't call Balewa to form a government. Balewa simply called in the army, and they put the president in protective custody, protect him against himself. And by evening, after so many people, the Umbane force of Nigeria, who we have more level-headed, have spoken to the president, Zik wrote another speech, which was also published in a later edition of the West African Pilot of that day, saying he was calling Balewa to form a government because of national unity. Now, how did we get to that point? We are talking about 1964, First Republic, when we were supposed to have a regionalism that was working. It wasn't working. The reason it wasn't working is that in the process of concentrating on sharing out, rather than creating a system of justice, we did it wrong.
Okay. Let me quickly allow Mr. Liman to weigh in on this matter. There's been a lot of call from different people, a lot of Nigerians, elderly people, who are saying there needs to be some sort of restructuring of Nigeria. Do you agree with that kind of debate?
Shagun, when politicians win election in advanced countries, you still have eggheads, think tanks, you know, looking at the contemporary issues to see how they can address problems, affecting the nation. At the moment, the history my colleague in Lagos is also talking about is good. It's quite a sweet music to a lot of people's ear. But the most important thing is there bread on Nigeria's table? And if the bread is not on the table, then you begin to see what is wrong. Is it maybe Buhari's, or maybe it's Jonathan, or maybe is it the PDP or something like that? The basic thing is, as I said, nations need to have think tanks. You know, Nigeria is a very resource-rich country. And it also could be pouched. You need to also have people that understand the geopolitics. Mind you, it's an oil and gas economy. An oil and gas economy that is, as I'm speaking to you right now, over 90% of the wealth of the nation is dependent on oil and gas. And the oil and gas economy is not being optimized. There's no forward integration. There's no backward integration. It's still the same oil and gas that led to the Civil War, and that's still the same issue. And what do you have? You are bringing in very expensive petroleum products, and you are now exporting raw crude oil. So the economy continuously it remains in a state of comatose as a consequence of that. So unless we have experts
just for a moment,
that will look at the aggregate economy and see how they can address that issue.
I plead with you. We need to take a break. Up next on the program, we take a break now, and when we return, we will be considering the issue of hate speech and the warning that against it. Join us again, everyone.